Zimbabwe, a country that has been struggling with hyperinflation since the early 2000s and whose currency collapsed in 2009, has reportedly introduced gold coins valued at $1,724 as legal tender to stabilize the local economy as the country battles to control runaway inflation, which is shocking for a nation on paper which should be doing much better than it is currently. In today's video, we will be looking at the matter of gold coins, criticisms, and a history of hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, and reasons why this is actually happening. So, as usual, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more content like this. Hyperinflation in general is an ongoing period of currency instability in countries such as Zimbabwe. After gaining independence and succeeding the unrecognized state of Rhodesia, the Rhodesian dollar was replaced on par value by the Zimbabwean dollar, which initially was more valuable than the American dollar. Interesting when you think about it, although this did not reflect the actual purchasing power it held on the black and open markets, as inflation was higher in Zimbabwe. And in its initial years, the new country economically was doing well, especially due to tobacco and wheat production, with strong economic indicators to show for it. However, things took a turn for the worst by 1991, when former President Robert Mugabe set about Economic Structural Adjustment Program, ESAP, which had serious negative effects on the country's economy, which it never recovered from really. Made worse by land reforms in the late 1990s to early 2000s, which intended to and managed to evict roughly 4.5 thousand white landowners and place their holdings in the hands of the black majority population, who had been historically disempowered socially and economically for generations by the white minority population.
The president denies he's instructed the war veterans to act, but has done nothing to enforce court rulings that say the occupations are illegal. Across Zimbabwe, up to 900 farms have now been invaded by ZANU-PF supporters.
However, the sad reality was that many of these new farmers had no experience or training in commercial farming, as well as a lack to advanced farming equipment, which is understandable considering the historical context. Sadly, many farms simply fell into ruin or were given to Mugabe loyalists, reportedly. Another issue had been Zimbabwe's involvement in the Congo War, which had been very costly, and money had started being printed to pay the soldiers as well. And things only went south from here, as from the years 1999 to 2009, Zimbabwe experienced sharp drops in food production and in all other sectors, especially tobacco. Sectors such as banking collapsed as farmers couldn't get loans, resulting in agricultural output almost dropping by half. And by 2007, unemployment was as high as 80% and inflation reaching 79 billion% per month in 2008. This greatly worsened by the fact that many of the white population had left, who sadly, historically, had most of the wealth, taking a significant amount of Zimbabwe's capital with them. However, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe at the time blamed the US, IMF, and European Union for this hyperinflation due to their economic sanctions on the country, primarily aimed at Mugabe and higher-ranking officials, as well as restrictions on trading, which occurred essentially due to concerns about political violence and human rights violations, among other things. However, if we are being honest, it is also somewhat true if you really think about it, as this really just added fuel to an already burning fire. However, at the same time, other reasons for the state of the economy included but not limited to were widespread poverty and violence, manufacturing and mining declining, government instability, civic unrest, national debt, violence to stifle political opposition, and a genocide in the 1980s initiated by Mugabe which essentially can be seen to have been targeting the Ndebele population. The printing of additional banknotes, although the value was rapidly dwindling, often resulting at a great expense from overseas suppliers, and so many other things. Another issue in the ongoing hyperinflation saga was that the official exchange rates published at the time by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe were infrequently updated. This made it virtually impossible to tell from official sources how much the Zimbabwean dollar was really worth against other currencies on a particular day, which in turn disrupted international business transactions involving the Zimbabwean dollar. The overall effect of all this and hyperinflation resulted in the economy of Zimbabwe going into complete chaos, and many Zimbabweans legally and illegally crossed into neighboring countries and those far away for a better life and opportunities, such as Botswana, where it's estimated there are 40,000 Zimbabweans, and South Africa, where it's estimated there are roughly 800,000 to 1 million Zimbabweans as of 2018. Other countries include the United Kingdom, USA, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and many more. However, these migrations have been happening since the War of Liberation, which was from the 1916s to 1979. Other factors include droughts and the situation in which the new government provided new social services without the corresponding capital coming back in. Other general effects in regards to hyperinflation included greater social and political instability, people's pensions and life savings being wiped after the Zim dollar crashed, political violence and prices fluctuating drastically. And in 2007, when the government declared inflation illegal, some senior bakers even went to jail for 4 months for raising prices. Anyone who raised prices for goods and services at that time was subject to arrest for a short period of time. In December 2008, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe licensed around 1,000 shops to deal in foreign currency, as local shops stated fewer prices in Zimbabwean dollars because they needed foreign currency to import foreign goods. Many businesses and street vendors continued to do so without getting the license, and by April 2009, the Zimbabwean dollar had collapsed. And from then out, currencies such as the American dollar and the South African rand became the new normal to facilitate commerce, as well as bond notes and coins which were introduced in 2016 to make up for the dollar cash shortage. They were supposed to be equivalent to the dollar. However, the value greatly depreciated against the dollar on the black market. On the 24th of June 2019, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe removed the multiple currency system and replaced it with a new Zimbabwean dollar, the RTGS dollar real-time gross settlement, which was the only official currency in the country between 2019 and March 2020. And this was supposed to bring bond notes, debit cards, and mobile money together so they would all be worth the same. However, the multiple currency system was allowed again as various factors such as the black market continuing to drive the exchange rates for foreign currencies. Due to all this, Zimbabwe started issuing gold coins named after Victoria Falls as legal tender as of late July 2022, due to the country battling to control runaway inflation that has weakened the local currency, as in June alone annual inflation hit almost 192%. The governor of the Central Bank of Zimbabwe is reported as saying the gold coins will act as a store of value and are expected to reduce the demand for the US dollar. The coins will be converted into cash and be traded locally and internationally, and according to Reuters, the coins will each contain 1 troy ounce of gold and will be sold by Fidelity Gold Refinery, Oryx, and local banks. It is reported that 4,475 gold coins have been sold since the introduction at the time of this recording, which the country's central bank sees as a success. However, some Zimbabweans currently have mixed feelings towards this. For example, some Zimbabwean traders have fears and beliefs, such as the country is known for policy inconsistencies, and remarks such as, what if they wake up and say the coins are no longer tradable? Other criticism so far is that the majority of Zimbabweans will not be able to afford the gold coins, and that this is aimed at in a scheme for the rich. However, the central bank governor says that the gold coins will have a trickle-down effect that will eventually help the average Zimbabwean, stating that the stability will be more helpful to the average day citizen. However, some citizens claim they have still not seen any differences and say many of them are still in survival mode, and that many items considered to be basic are out of reach for many Zimbabweans still. It had even got to the point where labor unions objected to the initial price of the gold coins, stating they are beyond the reach of the average worker. However, it is reported that the Zim dollar has seen a slight gain since the introduction of the gold coins, and that lower denominations are reportedly to be introduced in November for affordability by the average Zimbabwean. It will be available in units of a 10th ounce, quarter ounce, and half ounce for sale, reportedly. So yeah, it's a tough situation and we can only view from the outside and hope that things improve. But you know what they say, learn from history to see the future, but we shall see. So as usual, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more content like this.